Nintendo continues to make bad decisions time after time when it comes to their player base. I've seen it year after year, Nintendo doing everything in their power to make decisions that only benefit themselves rather than the customers who made them into what they are now. If it isn't them actively getting sued for the sheer lack of quality in their Joy-Cons, the lack of porting any old games after years of their customers begging, or putting my main man Gary Bowser into literal Nintendo debt for the rest of his life. No, I'm not joking, that guy actually owes Nintendo about $14.5 million because he helped pirate games. Bro's financial situation was taken out back and owed Yellard. It's a miracle why anybody continues to support this company even after doing all of this. Hi, my name is Big Papa Tuss, and I like to talk about things I find interesting. If you happen to enjoy the video, then why not give me a like and a sub? It's a small thing for you, but it helps me out massively. And while you're at it, why not join the Discord? I'm there every single day and would love to talk to you guys. Now, back to the video. So you may or may not have been watching Nintendo's Direct where the long-awaited Switch 2 was finally revealed, but let's go ahead and just jump right into it. The entire Direct screamed of nothing but greed coming from Nintendo. Let's take the massive amount of problems that this Direct showcased. Games on a Nintendo Switch 2 will cost a whopping $90 for physical and only $80 for digital. Jesus Christ, where do I even start with this? So Nintendo, the company that is infamous for never discounting their games, is now pushing the envelope when it comes to prices. If you thought that paying full price for a game that came out 3 years ago, I'm looking at you, Mario Kart Deluxe, or take Mario Odyssey, which came out 8 years ago, now it's 10 times worse. Because if you don't know, when you buy a game digitally, you don't technically own it. You just own the ability to play that game for a time. Think of buying a license. If that server were to ever go down for any particular reason, then you don't have it anymore. That's what the entire Ubisoft controversy that happened, where the exec basically said, get used to not owning your games anymore, which might not seem like a big problem to you now, but can be a very big problem if you ever decide to go play these games years down the road. The price of the Switch is $449. So the price of the Switch is basically $450 for something that is already coming outdated. The Switch has always been infamous for coming out with least undesirable specs every single time, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's a handheld after all, so I don't expect it to be on the same level graphically of a PlayStation 5. But I can literally buy a PlayStation 5 for less than the price and have it outperform the Switch in every single way.
Oh, but Tess, you're comparing a handheld to a standalone console. That isn't quite fair.
Okay, you know, valid point. But let me hit you with two counter arguments. If you're going to go into the handheld market, then why would your price tag be anywhere near a standalone console? It shouldn't even be in the same category. Another thing is, why did the Switch 1 cost $300 on release? So you mean to tell me I'm paying $150 more for a console and $20 more for games, because remember, the games are now starting at $80. Why would I stick around when I can pay $350 for a Steam Deck and get nearly the same specs, but have the infinite store of Steam instead? Oh, and I'm sure the stick drift problem has been totally fixed. I'm sure that won't ever be a problem again. Smiley face. Nintendo is charging you $10 to basically learn the console. Yep, you thought I was joking when it comes to the greediness of this company. So they're releasing something called the Switch 2 Welcome Tour, which is basically a tech demo and a virtual exhibition to showcase the new console capabilities and its secrets. You know who did the same exact thing for free? Sony, with the Astro Playroom. It did exactly what this virtual exhibit is doing, but for free. And when Nintendo was questioned by IGN about this, the literal vice president Bill Trinen defended it, talking about how much work went into it and that $10 is not an exorbitant price. His words, not mine. It really just shows how out of touch this company has become. Of course, the guy who's making 6 figures a year is basically rambling about how $10 is fine for something you're only ever going to use once. Number 4, the Switch doesn't come with an OLED screen. The base screen is LCD, but they're charging $450 for a handheld console. And the worst thing about this decision is they're probably going to release the Switch 2 but have an OLED version of it, like they did with the first Switch. Also, if you think OLED doesn't make much of a difference when it comes to playing, just go ahead and look at this photo. Number 5, Nintendo is charging for voice chat. Nintendo, in all of its glory, has now decided to take a core feature that has been in so many games since practically the dawn of time, but now it's behind a paywall. So basically Nintendo went and created their own version of Discord on their console. But one, it looks like so when you're sharing your screen, it's the quality of a potato. And no, I'm not purposely making the video. This is what they showcased. But after that, they announced in the week following up the initial Nintendo Direct that the voice chat feature will be on a free trial period. But once it's up, you'll have to fork over $20 a month. Hello, Papa Test from the future here. So it actually turns out that the game chat feature would actually be accessible without a Nintendo Switch Online membership up until 2026. But that membership afterwards will be required. So it's actually not $20. It's the cheapest you can get it is actually $4 a month. Just wanted to clarify that. Just to use it, which sounds like a way to hook up as many people as physically possible to just milk afterward. Nintendo is quite literally taking the drug dealer approach. First one is free, then you charge them once they want more. Now, there are some quick little ones like being able to use the Switch 2 Joy-Cons like a mouse. So yippee, I guess. I don't know who asked for that. Raising the prices for the Joy-Cons, the Soulless design, and the Pro Control, which is just a better controller, is actually $10 less than the actual Joy-Con itself. But time after time, Nintendo has always had a love-hate relationship with their consumer base. For some reason, they seem to do everything in their power to nickel and dime the very people who made them into what they are today. For years now, Nintendo has seemed to have taken on this anti-consumer type of idea with the lack of porting over very highly demanded GameCube games, but still charging you for the service. The infamous Joy-Con drift, actively taking down Smash Tournament because they're using an emulated version of the first game, and the countless other decisions that hurt them more than anything. It's a genuine wonder why people still sit here and defend them to death, when all they do is constantly fist their consumer base like a sock puppet. My name is Big Papa Tess, and if you enjoyed the video, why not leave me a like and a comment? Also, why not consider joining the Patreon? I upload Patreon exclusive videos, and viewers get to decide what my next upload should be by voting in polls. You also get early access to a podcast and get a shout out at the end of every video. Shout out to my patrons McGolddoodle and Melissa for helping out the video. Your support means a lot and helps fund these videos. Without you two, it wouldn't be possible. You have yourself a good one, and take care. Bye-bye.